Guys, it's me, Jake, from JakeMan21642, and today I wanted to bring you guys an update video on the latest addition to my fleet. This is my 2006 Toyota 4Runner. This one is the V8 Limited four-wheel drive trim. Yeah, it does not feel like it, but already time to do an update video on this car. And a decent amount of stuff has changed since the last time it was on the channel, as well as I think I've finally gotten enough seat time to really give some proper opinions on this thing. But outside you can see everything looks just about the same. I literally just washed it, dried it off the lazy way by driving around, because as you can see I'm losing daylight. So, yeah, like I said, I've had this for close to 5 months now, and I just rolled over 210,000 miles this week. This truck has had a good weekend as well. Got a new fuel pump, an oil change, and not necessarily a detail, but a nice little cleaning. And overall, in that 4,500 miles, I think it is safe to say that this went from being a tow vehicle I could have cared less about when I first got it, to this is now basically my daily driver, and probably one of my favorite vehicles I have owned at this point. It's something I never really saw myself owning. I've always been a fan of these, but when it came time that I actually needed a vehicle like this was exactly what I wanted. I really am glad I held out for a V8 now that we've done a few camping trips. I've really gotten a chance to actually tow our trailer with it. Really happy I held out for that. The limited trim is nice. I definitely wanted the heated seats, sunroof, the JBL, and it's a lot easier to find limiteds with all that. Colors as well. This is, if anyone knows me well, probably one of my least favorite color combinations, but it's definitely grown on me. I think especially with the window tint. The black exterior does look great on this truck, as well as these wheels, I think really just complete it. They look so good. Around the back again, I can't remember if I had this last video, but I did pick up this Harbor Freight Haulmaster trailer hitch. And honestly, it was kind of just a temporary thing because I needed something with this much rise, but so far so good. It's actually been excellent. And it really gave us the height that we needed. Because one thing I didn't take into consideration when I purchased this is our camper sits really high, and these have a very low trailer hitch. So definitely was a little bit of fine tuning there to get the height right. I'm still probably going to invest in a set of rear helper bags for this thing, just to really clean up the look, even it out. I can't remember if they were on last video. Yeah, they were, because I had the tires. But rear shocks have been replaced. Nothing special, just Monroe's, but better than the 210,000 mile ones that were on there. Up front, I'm about to do a front suspension overhaul soon, and it needs it. It's definitely clunky. You can definitely see with the way the front tire sits that it is definitely time for ball joints, but I've got a friend of mine who also owns one of this generation. He's already done the front end on his, so waiting for a time he's able to help me out, and I want to get that knocked out, especially since this is the tow vehicle for my family. Otherwise though, like I said, did an oil change today. A little early since I'm running synthetic. I'm probably going to stick with 5,000 miles, 5,000 mile intervals. But it had been about 4,500 miles or so. I wanted to get it right at 110, so went ahead and knocked that out. And then, like I said, ended up putting a new fuel pump in it over the weekend. And I was kind of expecting it for the last week as it's gotten cold. Cold starts have definitely been a little rough. Definitely, now that I look back, had some other warning signs, but basically got in it the other day. It was throwing a lean code, running really rough, so went ahead and knocked that out the next morning. For anyone wondering, I did do it the lazy way and not necessarily create my own, but make use of the access panel that's given in this car instead of dropping the tank. I'd literally just filled the tank that morning. I was not dropping it. It's there 210,000 miles, and this thing just keeps going, and that's kind of exactly why I wanted a Toyota. Like I said, this is our camping vehicle. This does tow our camper. Even though it basically has turned into my daily driver, I did still buy this with the intention of just having something I can hand the keys to my parents, and they can drive anywhere. They can tow with it, and I don't have to think about it. I was going places on my own with the camper. Definitely something German and diesel would have been fun, but also financial suicide with the budget I was working with. But definitely at the point where it's starting to feel sorted and I don't have to worry about driving it anywhere. Bought it out in Roanoke, drove it back. That was the first long trip with it. And then about a month ago, I drove it up to DC to pick up a friend from the airport. which, looking back on a dying fuel pump, that was an adventure. But did find this thing, unsurprisingly, just like every other driving scenario, is excellent on the highway. I would say it's just as quiet as my Mercedes. It is super comfortable. I literally did DC and back in a straight shot and zero complaints about it. So we'll go ahead, step in, start it up. I mean, I've already done a tour. You guys know what this thing looks like. But inside you can see, holding up pretty good. I still need to either paint or replace this. I just haven't gotten around to it. And then the seat definitely is getting worse. I'm kind of at the point where, since my interior guy is blowing me off, I'm kind of just trying to find a new seat, or at least a new seat bottom, and do it myself. But probably getting to the point where I should put a piece of tape on that, as ghetto as it looks. But otherwise, again, for 210,000 miles, it is holding up fantastic. Definitely tell towards the end, too, for the previous owners that this was probably the second, maybe even third vehicle, and they still took great care of it. But we'll go ahead, start it, and you can hear with this new fuel pump, it definitely starts a lot healthier. As I mentioned, 210,000 miles. I do need to clean my gauges. I'm sure you guys have noticed, definitely a big change from the last video. And funny, because this is actually something I said I was going to wait to do, but I did end up getting a new head unit. Can't remember the exact model number, but this is a Alpine CarPlay head unit. No complaints so far, works fantastic. Does have my backup camera, was able to keep that. Very nice for backing up to the trailer, as well as parallel parking. Radio worked plug and play with all the factory JBL components. So I still have all the JBL speakers and everything like that. It's just the head unit that's been changed out. And it really does have a great sound. I mean, especially for the age, JBL synthesis audio system is fantastic. Very nice too. The shop that I took it to, they were able to integrate the factory audio controls. So all of that works. Can skip channels, works with CarPlay as well, which is very nice. You can change modes. You do have your voice commands, which work for Siri. The only reason I don't have CarPlay up right now is I didn't want it to interrupt filming on my phone. But it is wired with this head unit. But for 60 bucks on Amazon, I bought this little module and works fantastic. So usually plug that in right there. You can see they were able to integrate it, make it very nice and factory looking. But no complaints, like I said. Kind of an ugly UI, but I use CarPlay most of the time anyway, especially since I got the wireless module. So very nice. Especially, I know it's getting dark. This tint does not help, but definitely a clean factory look as well. Below there, dual zone climate control. I think last video was already done, but I did replace pretty much all of the bulbs in this assembly right here. Four-wheel drive controls, back window controls. The dashboard as well, still holding up, crack-free. I'm convinced this one was replaced under recall at some point. I had accepted that I was going to get a 4th gen with a cracked dash, so very happy about that. Storage down below, storage inside of there as well. Shifter for the 5-speed auto. I did do a drain and fill. I probably should do another one. I kind of wanted to treat it as a flush, but I need to actually drop the pan, change the filter, all of that. But it has at least gotten some fresh fluid in my ownership. Heated seat controls back here, which again were a big thing I wanted. You can find Sport Editions with heated seats, and they have heated cloth. If you have a Sport Edition with heated cloth, I'm so jealous. So happy to have these. I would not have bought one with leather without heated seats. Seats, like I said, they're holding up great. Honestly, they're a little short, especially if you're tall like I am. I'm 6'2", and I definitely feel like if I was any taller, I would not be comfortable in this car. But driving to DC and back in the night, I have no complaints. They really feel like old Lexus leather. It's just that tough, really high quality old leather that these things use, and it still smells like it too in here. Driver's seat, back bolsters are holding up pretty good. You can definitely feel the bottom has 210,000 miles when you hop over on the passenger side, but still very comfortable. Especially working a job like I do where I'm on my feet all day. I totally understand why people like SUVs now. I'm so comfortable getting in and out of this thing. It just makes getting around very easy. I never thought I'd be a fan of something like this, but like I said, this has been one of my favorite vehicles I've ever owned. And I mean, like I mentioned, first video, excellent visibility, which is why I wanted a 4th gen. This thing is super easy to park, drive around the city, just because it's so easy to judge space and know where every corner of the car is. I'll say as well, being someone in the beginner stages of towing with no experience, this has definitely been a great vehicle to learn with. I have to say too, now that I've replaced the fuel pump, I'm definitely excited to see how this thing tows. Because I'm pretty sure for the entire time I've had it, I've been driving on a dying fuel pump. But we'll go ahead, pop the hood. And you can hear 210,000 miles, idles absolutely silent. Back window does lower down, showed that last video. That's still one of my favorite features. And inside the trunk, as much as it pains me to say, you can see this thing has been on some camping trips. It is definitely not as clean as it was when I got it. It was weird. As much as the carpet's in terrible shape throughout the rest of the car, the trunk was untouched, but definitely can't say that anymore. But again, this is why I bought an 06. I could have bought a new one. I could have gotten a 5th gen. This is not only what I wanted, but definitely something I got because I knew it was going to be the camping vehicle and stuff happens. But it does have the factory shelf you can raise. I kind of use it as a cargo cover. You can also lower it and just have a completely flat floor. Storage on the sides. The subwoofer right here, which as I showed last video, I kind of installed this the improper way and just popped the cover off. You can see my replacement subwoofer. The amplifier as well actually did end up going bad. I almost think when I got the windows tinted, they got it wet because it failed pretty quickly afterwards. But did replace it with an eBay amplifier. It was like $100, and the way I knew was the front door speakers just stopped working, and tried everything. That was actually around the same time I got the head unit, and ended up being the amplifier. That's one thing I forgot to say too. I love the CarPlay head unit. I do miss my CD changer. I'm definitely still a 90s kid. I love on a good road trip, just pop a CD in, let it go in the background. The CD changer was awesome in this thing too. It even came with a bunch of the previous owner's CDs. Back seat, you can see pretty clean on this side. I try to at least keep this thing vacuumed and conditioned, but honestly, it's a hauler. I drive it back and forth to work. I've used it to help people move. I've been taking loads of stuff to the thrift store for my grandma with this thing. It really is nice to just have a utility vehicle. Had back in September a bunch of friends visit for my birthday. Despite all of them having way nicer and way newer cars, we ended up taking this everywhere just because it makes getting around so easy where I live. But yeah, back seat's kind of full of crap right now. Try to keep it clean, like I said. You have your trash can holder right there, which only reason that's put away is because I was also, again, hauling loads of stuff with this car the other day. And up front, power passenger seat. One thing about this is the passenger seat, and it's not that it's broken, just does not lower. And if you're a tall person, your head is on the ceiling over here. Limited space on the passenger side. Everyone that gets in asks if the seat goes down, and that goes again back to what I was saying. These were not really designed for tall people. Front, the LED headlights, I did add those since it already had projectors. And then the yellow fogs, because why not? And you can hear under the hood a 2UZ FE V8, which is the entire reason I bought this truck, and I've put up with everything that it has thrown at me, is because this engine makes it worth it. Dual overhead cam, variable valve timing V8. And for all the V8 haters, the timing belt has been done. That's every V6 owner's excuse as to why they don't have the V8 is, oh, so much maintenance. You have to change the timing belt. I bought it. I paid $800. It's good for another 100,000 miles. Totally worth it. You can see, I think I had this the first video, to do the secondary air injection bypass. Also have replaced the mass airflow sensor. About half of the coil packs have been replaced. So I think the previous owner before me, because they had emissions testing where they lived, was kind of throwing parts at it, trying to pass emissions. And I think that and the air conditioning going out is ultimately why they gave up on it. But need to get a couple Denso coil packs for it. Not that it's running bad, just want to get that done for peace of mind. Spark plugs were changed before I got it. Thermostat, the rest of the belts, coolant, all of that was changed at the same time as the timing belt. Got a nice Costco battery as well that the previous owner added. So really at this point, this thing is set. I'm not exaggerating when I say I would hop in this and drive it from Virginia to California tomorrow. It really has been a fantastic vehicle. It has not left me stranded yet, and it just keeps going. The fact that this thing ran as good as it did on a dying 210,000 mile fuel pump still blows my mind. But I'm sure there's a lot I forgot to say in this video. I'll have more videos, more actual kind of like reviews, give some opinions of this thing. But as you can tell by the video, I'm a huge fan of it. Totally understand the hype about these now. I understand why the people that have them have had them forever and will not let go of them. But as always, guys, any questions, comments, anything like that, drop them down below. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.